Yo, what's up? We're back with this week's tip of the week, and this week I wanted to talk about the Loyal Stoneborn and Halls of Atonement a little bit. Just basically when to use the mind control on them, like how to control them, and some tips surrounding the Stoneborn that you may or may not know. It is a little bit subjective as to like when you should be using it, and it's kind of route dependent. But I do think that there are a lot of unique things that you can do inside of these dungeons that a lot of people don't know about the Stoneborns, and if you do know about them, maybe you can use them a little bit more effectively, that kind of thing. So the first and most important thing that you need for this dungeon, and the tactics are fairly simple with it, but you have to have a Venthyr. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You basically have to have a Venthyr in Halls of Atonement to be able to even mind control the Stoneborn. So of course, that's not really anything that you can budge on too much. There are some positional things like tagging Stoneborns over walls that you may need a little bit longer range for, but that's like on a case by case basis. So, what does basic Stoneborn management look like? In general, the rule of thumb is like use the Stoneborns kind of on single target encounters or prideful because the value of the Stoneborn is diminished on AoE. Yeah, they do the breath. The breath isn't like a significant portion of their damage. Most of the damage comes from like the melees. And like with that in mind, you should kind of design a route that you use all of your offensive CDs on AoE, also Bloodlust potentially even as well. Bloodlust kind of gets used on bosses in that dungeon, but you get the point. Use all of your offensive CDs on AoE, then use a Stoneborn to be able to kill mobs in the downtime, like kill either a Shard of Halkias, kill a Prideful, kill a boss, in between like uses of offensive CDs. And then after that, you go and use your offensive cooldowns again, as they've probably come back up in the meantime of where you're doing stuff like that. So that's like the general rule of thumb for how you end up using the Stoneborns. Obviously, again, like I said, case by case basis, and don't take that too literally. You can absolutely use them however your group sees fit, but this is just a general advice piece where like, okay, yeah, if you don't know what you're doing with them, this is how you probably should use them. So first tip is talking about double Stoneborns. And so one important thing is that you're not able to normally mind control two Stoneborns at once. However, you actually are able to mind control two Stoneborns at once under certain circumstances. So basically what you're looking for is you're looking for two of the inactive Stoneborns, like the non-mind controlled ones, to be stacked within, let's say like 5 to 10 yards. Basically the point where you get the extra action button. They need to be stacked within like a little bit of one another. And then once they're both like there, then you start spamming your extra action button. Either spam clicking it, spam hitting the bind for it. I would recommend having extra action button bound, but like spam clicking it. And then so it will mind control the first Stoneborn and then immediately start casting the mind control for the second one, and that will allow you to be able to get access to two Stoneborns at once. Then both of them are just going to be controlled during the same duration, and you're going to be on your merry way. This is very good for Halkias, especially since there are some like Stoneborns that are off to the side that you're not always going to get great use of. And there's also an unconventional pull that you can do with a Stoneborn into Halkias that we're going to show on screen right here. Basically, you're into the courtyard and like you either CC, they're like two mobs standing like this little courtyard area. You either CC them or you pull them, the trash surrounding the area, and then you can pull that Stoneborn straight through the wall. He just comes like right over the gate. It's important to note that there is trash that spawns there after you kill Halkias and after the gate drops. But before the gate drops, the Stoneborn is just by himself. And so whenever you tag him, he's not going to, there's no trash for him to proxy or anything. I hope that clip made a lot of sense for how that got tagged. There are two trash mobs, again, like I said, in that little ring. So you can either CC them with Imprison, like if you have double Imprison for some reason. You can also do things such as like meld off the trash after you pull the Stoneborn. You can also do things such as like Feign Deathing it, Invising it, Vanish, all that kind of stuff. Like somebody walks up and gets in combat, and then the other person with the 40-yard range can walk up after the fact and then tag the Stoneborn, and then the person who walked up and got combat can then drop it. It's very unconventional pull, but it allows you to get that Stoneborn over the wall, pull it in a Halkias potentially, and then doubling that up with the previous tip, which is the double Stoneborn. Those are really, really effective at killing that first boss without using basically any offensive CDs. It allows you to use your offensive CDs in a more conventional manner on trash pulls or on a pack after Halkias if you're doing a pack after that. That's not Echelon. Really, really good use of Stoneborns on Halkias. Another thing, another really unconventional pull I would say is Stoneborns can be pulled in an Inquisitor Cigar. That's the mini boss. That's after the third boss. He's got all the dudes on the pews, the ghouls that you have to kill. The deal with that guy, and the reason that you would ever do this is if you're trying to kill the mini boss quickly and forego killing the ads altogether. That's like the only real reason that you would probably pull a Stoneborn into that room. I think beyond that, pulling double Stoneborn into Elise or whatever the third boss's name is better. I think that should generally be better as opposed to just pulling it straight into the cigar. However, if you're able to miss Cigar's healing cast and you don't have to end up killing those ads, that's really, really beneficial, much to your Moonkin's dismay, because they would rather kill them. But the Stoneborn, basically, you will mind control the Stoneborn right before you go through the mirror. Then your team all walks through the mirror, and the Stoneborn will like snap to you and come to you in the cigar area, just mind controlled. And like you can see that being done on screen right here during the MDI. It was done fairly regularly during the MDI. It's useful. It certainly is useful. Nobody can really do it on high keys because even then the Stoneborn doesn't kill the mini boss before the heal would go off. So you have to kill all the little ads. So usefulness is questionable, but it can be used, I think, is something that is important. And if you're fucking around in like a low key and you want to have fun with your friends, like, yeah, go for it. It's something that's funny to go for, and if you pull it off, it's epic. So that's also something you can do. That's also another unconventional pull. The last tip I have is talking about raging Stoneborns. Most people don't know this, but the Stoneborns are actually affected by raging, and if they are mind controlled once they are already under the effect of the enrage, then the Stoneborns will maintain the raging on them, and that makes them do stupid amounts of damage. On top of this, the Stoneborns are affected by haste pretty heavily, so things such as power infusion, like using power infusion on the Stoneborn itself, makes them attack significantly faster. This was a lot more common whenever the Stoneborn lasted 30 seconds. It did infinitely more damage than now whenever it lasts 45. But even then, power infusioning the Stoneborn is still worth, but it's only worth once you start to get to a higher level, because the Stoneborn's damage is going to scale faster than your own DPS's damage. So that equilibrium of like where it's actually worth, I don't really know the answer to. But let's say like once you start doing 19, 20, it's probably worth power infusioning the Stoneborn. That seems like that would probably be better than power infusioning your mage or whatever. Also, if you don't know the people in your group, the Stoneborn can't let you down, and honestly, the mage can let you down. So maybe look to power infusion it if that's also the case. I mean, aside from this, though, all the tactics that I just talked about are fairly practical for how you're going to be doing the dungeons. And, like, aside from the cigar one, like, they're really easily implementable inside of your own runs, even if you're just doing weekly 15s, that kind of thing. And they can very often create significant time saves for how you're going to do this dungeon. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.